Hello and welcome to a new video from Your Overwatch. I'm Eddie the Chump and today we're going to be talking about something that I really think Overwatch could benefit from, and that's a community test environment. So if you don't know what a community test environment is, you obviously haven't played Battlefield 4. In Battlefield 4, DICE created a whole server where they would test everything that they were thinking about adding to the game. So new patches, weapon balance, new maps, and a host of other changes that the community asked for. Their thinking was, instead of just putting it in the main game live, they'd create a space where everyone could get their data for them. So if you don't know, when developers want to make changes, they often rely on data gathering. They actually don't go off community feedback all that much, they trust the numbers more than, say, subjective opinion. And that's quite a wise decision in most cases. So by creating the server that anyone with Battlefield Premium could join, they could test out all the ideas that the community had, all the ideas that they had, and the changes that they found to be useful they would then go and apply to the main game. So this led to many improvements in Battlefield 4. It really improved its netcode, a lot of the weapons that were out of balance were brought more in line with the rest of the game, and it was also a really smart PR move because the community felt that DICE was listening. A game like Overwatch has many moving parts at the same time. Making a small change to one character here or another there can actually have a massive effect on how the rest of the game plays. Fredo has made quite a few videos on this channel already about Widow, and about how he thinks that because it's a skill shot character, it's good to reward the best skilled players. However, the community already thinks that her ultimate is overpowered, for example, that being able to one-shot Zenyatta is too much, and how the game currently is, we're kind of stuck with that. We can't do anything about it, there's no way to test it without putting it live in the real game, and that might upset the balance. So if we had this environment, it would be a huge bonus for us. I would actually make it a whole separate playlist, one that players could voluntarily join to help test out any changes they wanted to make. I don't really see a good counter argument for not having this, especially as the pro scene is currently up in arms about whether to allow multiple of one character or single character only. The game is just being played in different ways than Blizzard intended. So if there was this playlist, we could just try these things out, and they could be a bit more liberal with the changes they made. One good question is, how are they going to buff D.Va? Imagine if it wasn't just conjecture on a YouTube channel. Imagine you could go into a playlist where she had buffed damage, or her gun was more accurate, or she moved faster while shooting, and these things could be changed up while they gathered the data. Maybe they gave Zenyatta more shields, maybe they gave him more health, maybe they changed Widow's ultimate so that only she sees it and that when she dies it goes away. Imagine if McCree was retooled so that his left click was his main priority and the right click was actually just more of a panic option. So what are the changes I'd like to see in a playlist if it existed? Well, as you'll see later in the week, I'm going to be making a few videos about Hanzo. I really like Hanzo, but I think he lacks a bit of utility. I think his cooldowns are a bit too long for him to be actually useful. His recon arrow has a cooldown of like 18 seconds. That's far too much. In the test environment, you could play with that. You could make his bow charge time less. You could make him move faster while charging his bow, for example. If it was too much, we'd find out straight away. We wouldn't have to rely on posting on forums or on the subreddit. We'd see the evidence right in front of us in real time. One of the main benefits, as I've already mentioned, is that if you change one thing, it can actually affect a lot more of the picture than you think it might. I think it would actually cut out a lot of the nonsense surrounding this game, where some people say one character's overpowered and it really isn't. Think Bastion, for example. And you'd actually be able to see, okay, if we buff D.Va's damage or we buff her movement while shooting, then Widow becomes less relevant or it's harder to play her. And those kind of things are really good for the kinds of people who really want to understand the game. It doesn't even have to be a general playlist. It could just be an esports rule set test environment. I'm sure Blizzard are already thinking about this because it could be a massive PR move. They seem quite hesitant to make big changes and I can completely understand that. But with this in place, they'd have no need to be so conservative. They could almost just go completely ham with it. They could make 5 changes at once, although I don't think that's necessarily a good idea. Either way, I think it's actually worth their time. It would help the community, it would help them, it would help the esport grow. There really is no argument against it as far as I can see, other than expense, but I don't really think that's a relevant argument in a game with 7 million players. If you agree or disagree, leave a comment in the comment section below. If you like the video, don't forget to leave a like. I've been Eddie the Chump, and until next time.